So yeah, I don't know, where do I put this thing? I'll try to hold it here. The pesa pale moneka bueno. Good soup. Okay, I think just like that. Though my face look like So yeah, my broadcast cut, but like I was telling you, that I went to Woodlands police station to check on Chris Zumani Zimba, and Chris is arrested together with President Edgar Lungu's nephew, one of President Edgar Lungu's nephew, as well as one NS at from Chainama Hospital, and a friend to this nephew of President Edgar Lungu. So they are four of them. There are four of them, and they are charged, you know, with possessing these dangerous chemicals with the intention to harm people, to cause harm. That is the charge. These people have been at Woodlands police station for over 2 weeks. They have been at Woodlands police station for over 2 weeks. Yes, I've seen somebody's writing to say Collins is saying the gassers. I want to tell you, Collins, that when this story starts unfolding, if indeed it will even go to court, Collins Mushokavanji, you will be disappointed, because these are not gassers. I want to tell you outrightly, these are not gassers. This is a propaganda that has been brought out by basically the UPND operatives, because I won't actually accuse the police to say they are the ones that said that these are gassers. I think I'll be unfair to the police. Me, I like to say things as they are, stating facts other than speculations. At least from my point of view, I've not heard the police say these were the gassers. The police, at least from my point of view, unless you have got other information, I don't think the police have said that. And certainly this case is not about the gassers. It is the propaganda of the UPND that has brought in that they are gassers. Of course, they have got the intentions. They have got their own intentions. And the intentions, from my point of view, is that they want to implicate President Edgar Lungu, you know, in some of these heinous crimes that have happened in the past. They want at all costs to implicate Edgar Lungu in something that it will leave Zambians, you know, saying this man was such a bad leader. This is the ploy. This is the ploy. The ploy is that they want at all costs to bring President Edgar Lungu, to verify President Edgar Lungu in the eyes of the unsuspecting public, that Edgar Lungu was such a bad leader who did terrible things, who was corrupt. This has been the agenda of the UPND since they came into power. And I know they want to silence all of us so that we don't challenge them. They don't want us to challenge them. And from my point of view, I really think the UPND are doing themselves a disservice. They are doing themselves a disservice in the sense that instead of delivering on the promises that they made, they are wasting time trying to verify President Edgar Lungu and those that are around President Edgar Lungu. But you see, at the end of the day, when the elections will come, the UPND will not go on the platforms campaigning that, look, this is how much we verified President Edgar Lungu. This is how much we tried to pin Edgar Lungu. I don't think, my brothers and sisters in UPND, that is the campaign message that you will bring to the people in 2026. I don't think that is a message that you will bring. So you are wasting so much time running these propaganda against Edgar Lungu, running this propaganda against his family, running this propaganda against his ministers. But when 2026 come, you will not be campaigning based on that. The Zambian people will be asking you, what have you done? That is what you will have to deliver on. That is what you will have to convince the Zambian people to give you another mandate. Failure to which it will be difficult for you. Following us, following Chilufya Tayali, no matter, you won't go and campaign to the Zambian people how many times that you arrested Chilufya Tayali. And the worst of all, if anything happens to some of us, it will be very difficult for you. This is a brotherly advice, brotherly political advice. So this issue of saying Chris Zumani Zimba is linked to gassing is not true. It is not true. And I can challenge anyone to prove that Chris Zumani Zimba and his co-accused are linked to gassing. They are not linked to any gassing. And I can tell you the story, how it starts. This story starts way back in 2020, of course. In 2020, when the nephew to President Edgar Lungu came across, who comes from Petauke, by the way. This nephew of Edgar Lungu comes from Petauke. He comes from Petauke. That's where, he has been living. And there in Petauke, somebody came to him and told him that, look, we have got God. There is God which we need to process. Once we process it, we can get it, like getting it from whatever, mixed up with whatever it is. Once we process it, we will get the pure God. And when we get this God, we can sell it. And this young brother, this nephew to President Edgar Lungu said, what do we need? He says, well, we need some chemicals. And some of the chemicals are, I think, I don't know, but then there was red mercury and whatever. Anyway, we need some chemicals to process this gold. And this is how this young man came to Lusaka to get the chemicals that were needed to separate the gold from whatever it is anyway. If it's soil, whatever. And he bought those chemicals going back to Petauke. But they also needed red mercury. And unfortunately, they didn't buy that red mercury. That is another whole story, because the people that brought red mercury, I don't know how they came into the country. They came from Zimbabwe and whatever. And this is happening in Petauke back then in 2020. Anyway, at the end of the day, those guys, they didn't succeed to get the whole chemicals and separate the gold. In the process, this nephew to Edgar Lungu was arrested together with his friend. and those other people who were selling red mercury. The case went to court, but of course they couldn't prosecute it. The state entered a nolle. The state entered a nolle because they couldn't prosecute the case, basically, I think, on insufficient evidence. Now, recently, this nephew of Edgar Lungu and his friend were arrested. They were arrested, and now the news came up to say they were linked to gassing. But it wasn't about the gassing. It was about them trying to separate this God from whatever it is, soil or whatever. To purify God, basically. Let me say that. To purify God. In the process, when this nephew of Edgar Lungu was arrested, and his friend, they were tortured. They were taken to command center. And you know, last time when I was arrested myself, I was taken to command center in this room, which, according to the description of Edgar Lungu's nephew, I think it is the same room where they took me. And in that room, they were tortured at command center. They were tortured at command center. Which makes me think now, connect with them taking me there. I think they wanted to torture me. Because the room where they took me, those police officers, according to the description of Edgar Lungu's nephew, that is the same room where they were tortured. And it is unfortunate that that command center is being used for torturing people. Because I say this based on what these other people have said. They were tortured. Edgar Lungu's nephew, his friend, and another man, an elderly man from Matero, was also tortured at command center. And I have come to understand why they took me there. They took me there so that they can torture me. But fortunately, I was not tortured at command center. We entered into the room, and a few minutes later, somebody called the police officers who went with me there, and they took me down. But these guys were tortured at command center. They were tortured at command center, which is very unfortunate. And some of you people who think that this country, everything is going on as normal, I think you will realize when one of these cases fall on you. And I keep saying that no shalimo akabamo, because some of you think that no. You know, yesterday when I said, you know, this country has just become a country of warnings, detentions, police. Some of you were busy saying, no, for us we are enjoying. For us it's okay. Wait for your time. I can assure you, wait for your time. In a dictatorship, it is like that story where, you know, you see an elephant sees an impala running, and the elephant asks, why are you running? Why are you running? And the impala answers to say, they are killing goats. And the elephant says, but why are you running? You are not a goat. And the impala responds, when they finish with the goats, they may come to the impalas, and it will take a long time for me to prove myself that I'm not a goat. And when they are done with impalas, they may come even to the to the lions, to the elephants. Basically, my point is that don't get too comfortable. Don't laugh at us when we are complaining about wrong things. What I do myself is not to insult the government, is to point out the wrong things. That's all I do. And that is what I'm arrested for. And that is why I'm living in fear, because, I mean, this government is really following all those who are talking. But you know, you may think that you are comfortable because you are a praise singer. One way or the other, you might find yourself in a very difficult situation. So when wrong things are happening, please, my brothers and sisters, let us point them out. Here I am telling you of an injustice. Here I'm telling you of torture. And I'm saying at that command center, the police are torturing people there. Myself, I was taken there. I don't think the police can explain why they took me from Woodlands police station and took me to a command center. I don't think they can explain that. Without my lawyers, why did they take me to command center? And yet, we have heard of other people, like in this instance, these people are there. It's not that I'm lying. They are there. They were tortured there at command center. And the torture was that they should agree that President Edgar Lungu gave them money to buy chemicals for gassing. This was the narration. This is what they wanted. They were being forced to agree that the person that sent them to buy chemicals which were not for gassing, they were being tortured, that they should agree. In other words, they should implicate President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. I am saying this. They told me. I'm telling you. They told me. So I'm not fabricating this. Unless they were lying. And if they are lying, I mean, it is them that should be held accountable. They were being tortured to implicate President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And when they went through the phone, records of this nephew of Edgar Chagwa Lungu, they found the communication between him and Chris Zumani. Chris Zumani was not brought in by these people. Chris Zumani was brought in because when they went through the phone records, they found Chris Zumani calling, a record of him communicating with this young man. This is how Chris, he has been implicated. He has not been revealed that he is the one that paid them to do this. No, Chris Zumani Zimba has been linked because of a phone call, because of a phone record. And if you think of it, it is a desperation to try and link Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And this young man has explained to the police to say, what I was talking with Chris Zumani Zimba was about politics, whereby some chiefs were not happy with what was happening back then. They were aggrieved with some issues during the time when Edgar Lungu was in power. So this guy coming from Petauke was talking to Chris about these traditional leaders. So that is the connection. That is a phone call that is between this young man and Chris Zumani. But the police, according to them, because they want to link Edgar Lungu, they have arrested Chris Zumani Zimba based on that phone record. Now, my brothers and sisters, I insist, Chris Zumani Zimba, from my point of view, is not a friend that I can say I can come here and start lying for. No. They made their mistakes. They made their mistakes. Chris Zumani Zimba made mistakes when he was at State House, where, I ended up being arrested myself. When I was telling about things that were actually true, which were obtaining on the ground. In my view, Chris Zumani Zimba, they would have done a better job, and maybe Edgar Lungu wouldn't have even gone out of power. But In spite of that, I cannot watch Chris Zumani Zimba being persecuted innocently just because I was not happy with how they performed when they were in power, or just because they did one or two things which made me suffer. Injustice is an injustice. Injustice is an injustice. What is happening to Chris Zumani Zimba, linking him to this gassing simply because of a phone record? I can assure you, I have spoken to these people, and I have spoken to one or two people away from them. There is no any other link that Chris Zumani Zimba has with this nephew apart from that phone call. That's it. That's it. A phone record. So even that, you know, we are safe, we are safe. Imagine, just because you made a phone call to me and you are arrested and you are thrown in. Over 2 weeks now. I'm telling you, you'll be shocked how some of these things fall on you. Surely, do you really think it is fair that Chris Zumani Zimba should be arrested because of a phone record? But Eugene Ngosa is asking at what was the conversation. The conversation, I've told you, the conversation was about the chiefs who basically wanted to communicate something to Edgar Lungu. And they used the nephew because they knew that the nephew can have links to President Edgar Lungu. And the person that was in charge was Chris Zumani Zimba as a political advisor. Apart from that, there was also a councillor who wanted to cross from UPND to PF. That was the conversation. That's it. And that today, you can link Chris Zumani Zimba to gassing. And even these gentlemen, the chemicals that you find with them, it will be very hard for the police to prove that indeed these chemicals were intended to be used for gassing. It will be very difficult. It will be very difficult because finding bullets with me, for example, bullets are used to be put in a gun to shoot people or to shoot anything, and they can harm people. Now, imagine if you find bullets with me. Can you charge me of attempting murder? Be reasonable, Zambians. Imagine if you find, yes, bullets are dangerous. If you put in a gun and you shoot at a person can die. Now, imagine you find bullets with me. Bullets. You find bullets with me. Can you charge me of attempted murder? Can you charge me of, with the intention of killing somebody? Can you? When there is no one who has died. Because as it is, these people come from Petauke. And those of you who remember about gassing, was there gassing in Petauke? Was there gassing in Petauke? And okay, even if you want to think about, you just want to go wild and start thinking. You interrogate this matter. Can Edgar Lungu send his nephew, his own nephew, can Edgar Lungu send his own nephew to go and gas people in his village? Does that make sense? Can Edgar Lungu, he comes from Petauke, can Edgar Lungu send his nephew, who comes from Petauke, to say, go and gas my people? Does that make sense? The issue at hand here is a desperation of this government to incriminate Edgar Lungu. This is the issue. And they are coming in all directions. They come from corruption side. They come from criminal activities. I mean, they are coming from all directions. wanting to implicate Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And here I am not talking about Edgar Chagwa Lungu for anything. I am talking in the interest of justice. In the interest of justice, because it is unfair that the entire government would invest so much resource in trying to implicate the former head of state, instead of investing those resources into other issues that would benefit the country, for which, at the end of the day, they can brag about, they can even use to campaign for another mandate. I have seen cases, and I'm not naive. This case, I can assure you, this video will remain here on social media. If Facebook won't delete it, I can assure you the case of Chris Zumani Zimba is not going anywhere. It can never be prosecuted. Never. It can never be prosecuted. You can't. How are you going to prove that the chemicals that they found them with, which they had, or with the intention of, processing God, there is no way you can bring them to court and prove to the court that indeed this was gassing, this was for gassing. And for that matter, you cannot prove murder without the body. There must be a body. This is the body. So how can you just find people with chemicals and you say these people are intending to gas? How? How are you going to prove that, yes, these people wanted to gas? How? People that you arrest in a vehicle, you find chemicals in a vehicle. Chemicals which by themselves, in their form, are not even harmful. How? This case can never, I'm telling you, this case can never be prosecuted in the courts. It can never. But the police are under instructions. They are desperate to implicate the former head of state. This is the problem. And look, they have locked them up over 2 weeks now at Woodlands Police Station. At Woodlands Police Station, where they locked them up for over 2 weeks, they came in the night. Last night. The police have told me they were picked in the night. Why transfer them to, I believe, to what I've been told, I believe Kamwala remand prison, and I hope they are there, because I will later on go and verify. I have to verify that. But why move them at night? Why did they pick Chris and his people in the night? Why did they do that? Why not move them during the day? Why not inform their lawyers? Those people are represented. Why did they move them in the night? And if to you that sounds like the rule of law, okay, fine. Let's agree to disagree. Let's agree to disagree. From my point of view, that is not what a government that leads by the rule of law operates. The way this government is operating, the way this government is treating some of us, it is far from what I can call the rule of law. It is far from it. Because even this case, the case that they have slapped them with, they are saying it is non-bailable. Now, those who follow these issues, who know about the law, they will remember that possession of harmful substance was bailable in 2020. This case, because it is a case which happened in 2020, they were arrested in 2020, released on Nole, rearrested in 2023. At that time when they arrested them, this case was bondable. And this I'm challenging to the police officers who are holding on to those people, accusing them that saying that it is non-bailable. I want you to hear this. Those people were arrested in 2020. And at that time, when they were arrested in 2020, this case was bailable or bondable. You could be bonded. Even then, when they were arrested, back then, they were on bond. They were on bond. Now, they have been rearrested in 2023 when the law has changed. The law has changed now that possessing dangerous, substance, there is no bail. Now, if you follow the law, since these people were arrested back in 2020 when this case was bondable or bailable, this time around when they have been rearrested, it cannot be taken as if this case is happening now. Okay? As if this case has been, this crime has been committed now. This alleged crime. You can't take it that it has been, you cannot take it like it has been, it has been committed now. It was committed in 2020 when the case was bondable, was bailable. And therefore, the law that should apply is the law that was applying at that moment. The lawyers, they tell you that you cannot apply the law retrospectively. Meaning, you can't apply a charge which happened before the law was changed. You can't use the law now. If I can put it in another way, it is like when you go, you are looking for a job, and they say, according to the law, when you enter today, the job, according to the law, you're supposed to get 1,000 kwacha. So anyone who enters now is supposed to pay 1,000 kwacha. But later on, the law changes that anyone who gets a job as a whatever gets 2,000 kwacha. It simply means that those who entered before, they cannot get that 2,000 kwacha unless those who have entered afterwards. Another example that might apply better is the cutoff point. When I was writing grade 9, when I wrote grade 9, going to grade 10, the cutoff point was 394. That was a cutoff point. And I can't remember exactly, I got about 406 somewhere there. And I passed, I qualified. But now, the law has changed. The cutoff point these days is usually above 400. You can't tell me I failed. No, I didn't fail. My wife?
Yes.
I'm live. I'll be coming. I'll be coming.
Okay, call me when you finish your live.
Yes, my wife, I will.
Okay.
So you can't tell me because this year the cutoff point is 400. You can't tell me that I failed. No, I didn't fail. I passed because the cutoff point then was 394. The cutoff point this year might be 400, might be whatever. You can't tell me that I failed. Because what applied to me was 394. The same thing comes into Chris Zumani Zimba and these guys. When these people committed that crime, at that time, the law that was that this case was bondable. And this is why when they were arrested, they were bonded. But this time around, they have been rearrested on the same charge. You can't say, now you will not get bond. No. And surely the police ought to know this. But what is behind this is torture. It's torture. They want to torture them. They want to torture them. That is why they are keeping them inside. And they want to torture them so that they can link Edgar Chagwa Lungu to this case. This is really not nice. This is not good. It is unfair. It is injustice. It is torture. It is abuse of human rights. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. It doesn't matter which part you are. You can be UPND, you can be a praise singer. My brothers and sisters, I'm simply appealing to you that let's look at our conscience. Let's look at things as they are. Let us not lie against people that they gassed others when they did not. Let us not impute intention from people. I mean, that just because we find them with these chemicals which they had the other intentions for. And unfortunately, I'm talking about Chris Zimba. There is another nurse from Chinama. This nurse from Chinama, it is very unfortunate for him. This guy was just together at school with the nephew to Edgar Chagwa Lungu. He's the nephew to Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Now, they were together at school. And again, he has been taken because of a phone conversation between the nephew to Edgar Lungu and this male nurse. Is that simply a male nurse from Chinama, for goodness sake? The guy was crying when I went to see him. He was crying. He's in tears. He's suffering for it. He has got nothing to do with all this. No shalimo akabamo. This nephew, this nurse, this male nurse from Chinama is basically is a victim of no shalimo akabamo. Who knows? This guy might even be a praise singer. So even you praise singers, the way you come out, you'll be shocked. Look at this nurse. Because of a phone call between Edgar Lungu's nephew and him, he's inside. He's inside. He's inside. He's just a nurse. That's all. Really, Mwebantu. Is this how we are going to live? Is this what you call democracy? Is this what President Hakainde Hichilema promised us? Is this what Bajaki Mwimbu was telling us, that they have given us freedoms? You may not like me. You may have your own opinion. But look at the issues that I'm raising away from me. Look at them clearly as they are. Finding somebody with bullets, can you conclude that this person wants to go and kill somebody? They were not found with dangerous gases. Ubuntu Forum, they were not found with dangerous gases, no. They were not found with dangerous gases. No gas, no dangerous gas was found with them. No. And I can assure you, this case, if this case will see its day in court, you will remember me. And I doubt if this case will go to court. Just like I told you on that case, our Ministry of Finance. I told you, the case of our Ministry of Finance, I told you that I doubt if this case will go to court. I told you, I doubt if this case will go to court. It is not in court. And even if it would come to court, there is no way those people would be convicted. It is like my case of sedition, seditious practice, seditious intention. Unless the DPP really has lost his senses, that he would bring that case to court. Even this case of Chris Zumani Zimba, unless the DPP has lost his senses, that he would bring these people before court. Unless he has lost his senses. Because there is no way you can link these people to what you are talking about, the issues of Ghazi. You can't. And how do you bring Chris Zumani Zimba simply because of a phone call? How do you bring him in? And whatever these people said, whatever it is that they were saying, these people are even being tortured. They were being tortured at what is this command center? They were being tortured. So this case is nowhere. It is a dead case. There is no case here. What is there is a desperation for the government to implicate Edgar Lungu. It is an injustice for the trio. It is torture. These people who have been beaten. That is what is currently going on. Nothing else. Nothing else. What is here? It's these issues that I've told you. Number one, trying to implicate Edgar Lungu. Number two, injustice by keeping these people inside. Torture by keeping them inside, beating them, and torturing them in different forms at force command, whatever. And, of course, the police being desperate to please the politicians. That is what is all about this case. There is no any other way. You can talk to the police, you can whatever. There is no way this case can materialize into anything. Nami ever. Anyway, you heard my wife calling. I have to go for breakfast. But first I want to go and confirm. Na yakuna nikane, I want to go to Kamwala, confirm that Chris Zumani Zimba and his friends are there. I'm doing this for nothing but in the interest of justice. Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.